I remember the night it all began. The neon lights outside the motel were flickering, painting my car in pulses of red and blue. I thought it was just another delivery, one envelope, one drive, nothing more. But when I saw the same black SUV in my mirror for the third time, I knew someone was watching me. My hand started to shake on the steering wheel. The music on the radio cut out, static filled the silence. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't the one in control anymore. This is where my story begins. The desert road felt endless. I had been driving for hours, headlights carving tunnels through the dust. Every few miles, a neon sign would flicker in the distance, then vanish again into the dark. By the time I reached El Camino Inn, the night had that strange silence, the kind that hums right before something goes wrong. The office smelled of cigarettes and cheap disinfectant. A radio whispered in Spanish somewhere behind the counter. Then I saw him, Miguel Rivera. Calm. Confident. The kind of man who didn't need to raise his voice to make people listen. He didn't smile when he saw me. He just opened a drawer, took out a small brown envelope, and slid it across the desk. "No questions," he said. "Drive to the border. Box 47. I looked at the envelope, plain, light, but it felt heavy in my hand. "What's inside?" "Nothing that concerns you." The way he said it made the room colder. I tried to sound brave. "You know I'm not doing this for money." He leaned closer, eyes fixed on mine. "I know. That's why you're perfect." Somewhere outside, a car door slammed. Headlights swept across the blinds, a black SUV, slowing, waiting. I felt the hairs on my neck rise. Miguel didn't even turn around. "Take the envelope," he said. "And drive like you've never driven before." I stepped outside. The desert wind carried the smell of rain and gasoline. The sign above me buzzed, El Camino Inn, vacancy. As I started the car, I caught my reflection in the mirror. Eyes wide, hands shaking. I didn't know it yet, but that envelope wasn't a delivery. It was a warning. The road to the border was empty, stretching like a scar through the desert. The radio whispered a song I didn't recognize, soft, fading, lost in static. I kept one hand on the wheel, the other resting on the envelope beside me. It was supposed to be light, but it felt heavier with every mile. Every few minutes, headlights would appear behind me, then disappear again. A white pickup this time. Maybe the same one. Maybe not. I tried to tell myself it was nothing, but the voice in my head wouldn't shut up. Somewhere ahead, flashing lights, border inspection ahead. My breath caught. I couldn't risk being stopped, not without knowing what I was carrying. I turned onto a dirt road, dust swallowing my car, the world fading into brown haze. My phone vibrated. "Lydia. You said this was just a delivery," I whispered. Silence. Then her voice, small and shaking. "Sarah, who gave you that number?" The line went dead. My heart dropped. The radio cut out again, and all I could hear was the engine, and my own heartbeat. Then blue lights appeared in the distance, not border patrol, something else. I stopped the car, dust rising around me. On the corner of the envelope, almost hidden under tape, I saw a stamp, FBI evidence seal. That's when I realized I wasn't just delivering something. I was the delivery. White light, metal walls, the hum of electricity. My wrists weren't cuffed, but I might as well have been. Across the table sat Agent Donovan, clean suit, calm voice, eyes that didn't blink. He opened a thick folder and read aloud, every word slow, deliberate. Sarah Hughes. 20 years old. No record. Student from El Paso, and yet your name appears on 3 separate FBI watch lists. I stared at the wall, refusing to answer. I already told you, I said. I didn't know what was inside that envelope. He leaned back, studying me. Interesting. Because the man who gave it to you disappeared the same night. The sound of the fluorescent light above us filled the silence. He slid a glass of water toward me. I'm trying to help you, Sarah. But tell me one thing, why did you change your route before the border? My throat tightened. Because I thought someone was following me. Donovan smiled, just a small, knowing curve. You were right. He pulled a USB drive from his pocket and inserted it into his laptop. On the screen, a photo of me behind the wheel, headlights reflecting off the glass. Taken from a distance. In the corner, a shadow of a man in a jacket. He wasn't following you, Donovan said quietly. He was protecting you. But from who? 3 months earlier, life felt simple. El Paso was hot, dusty, slow, the kind of place where nothing ever changed. I spent most days in a small campus cafe, studying, drinking cheap coffee, and dreaming of getting out. That's where I met Lydia. Bright smile. Expensive shoes. The kind of confidence that only comes from knowing secrets. She sat across from me, dropped her bag on the table, and said, "You could make more money in one night than the university pays in a month." I laughed. I thought she was joking. But she didn't laugh back. She pulled a small envelope from her purse, the same kind I would later carry. "Nothing illegal," she said. "Just deliveries. People send documents across the border. You drive, you don't ask questions." Something in her tone made me hesitate. Curiosity and fear, the perfect mix. "Why me?" I asked. She smiled, but her eyes looked somewhere else. "Because you're smart. And because no one would ever suspect you." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe the world could change that easily. Before she left, she leaned closer and whispered, "If you ever do this, remember one thing, don't ask who's behind it. Once you know, there's no way back." I laughed it off. But her words would come back to haunt me. If I had walked away that day, none of this would have happened. Night again. The parking lot was half empty, buzzing under a single street light. I waited for Lydia, replaying our old conversation in my head. She said tonight I'd finally meet the people she worked for. When the black SUV pulled up, my stomach turned. Lydia stepped out, but she wasn't alone. 2 men followed. They didn't speak. They didn't have to. One look was enough. Lydia tried to sound casual. "Don't worry, they're friends from work. Friends don't carry guns." "Lydia, you said this was legal." "It is, if you follow the rules." One of the men stepped forward, his accent heavy. "You're the girl who drives, right?" I didn't answer. My throat closed up. "Everything's under control," Lydia said quickly. "She just does the driving." "She'd better," the man said. "Miguel doesn't like surprises." That name hit me like cold water. Miguel. I turned to Lydia. "You work for him?" She looked down. "No. I work because of him." Silence. The kind that tells you everything's already gone too far. When the men left, Lydia grabbed my arm. "You're scared," she whispered. "Good. Stay that way." That's when I realized. Lydia wasn't my friend anymore. She was my handler. The motel parking lot was silent except for the buzz of a dying street light. Miguel leaned against his car, smoke curling from his cigarette. His face calm, unreadable. In his hand, a black duffel bag. "This isn't like last time," he said quietly. I stared at the bag. "What's inside?" "The less you know, the longer you live." He handed me a set of car keys, an old Chevy with scratched doors and a motel tag hanging from the mirror. "Drive to Santa Rosa," he said. "Find a man named Rico. He'll know what to do." "And if something goes wrong?" He smiled, slow and deliberate. "Nothing goes wrong. Only people do." The bag felt heavier than it looked. I got in the car, the seat still warm from someone else. On the passenger side, a folded map, a burner phone, and an envelope marked, "One last drive." I turned the key. The engine coughed, then growled to life. Miguel stood under the buzzing light, cigarette ember glowing in the dark. He didn't wave. He didn't move. Just watched. I drove away, the motel shrinking in the mirror, until it was swallowed by the night. Halfway down the road, the burner phone rang. I hesitated, then answered. A whisper, "If you want to stay alive, don't go to Santa Rosa." Someone else knew about the job, and they wanted me to fail. The desert stretched out forever, endless and silent. I'd been driving for hours, following nothing but instinct and fear. The duffel bag sat behind me, like a heartbeat I couldn't escape. The voice on the phone replayed in my head, "Don't go to Santa Rosa." I didn't know who to believe anymore, Lydia, Miguel, or the stranger who warned me. I stopped at a gas station, the kind that looked abandoned even when open. The sign flickered, one pump working, the air thick with heat. Inside, the clerk barely looked up. "That your Chevy?" he asked. "Yeah, why?" "You're not the first to drive through here with those plates." My stomach tightened. Behind him, an old TV played the local news, a grainy camera shot of a car identical to mine. Headline, "Smuggling Investigation Near El Paso Border." I felt the blood drain from my face. Paid for the gas. Walked out. The desert wind cut across the lot as I climbed back into the car. Every shadow looked like a threat. In the mirror, headlights again. The same white pickup. Getting closer. I turned off the main road, tires slipping on sand. Drove until the engine started to overheat. When I finally stopped, the headlights were gone. Only darkness. Then I saw him. A man standing by an old car, half hidden by dust. He didn't move. He just watched me. That was the first time I saw him, the man who was supposed to save me. The air in the desert was still. My engine ticked softly as it cooled, and the sand swirled around my boots as I stepped out. The man didn't move. Just stood there, a shadow against the dying light. "Don't come any closer," I yelled. He didn't listen. His voice was calm, almost kind. "If you keep driving to Santa Rosa, you won't make it." I could see the outline of something in his hand, metal catching the moonlight. I reached for the car door, ready to slam it shut, but he lifted his other hand slowly. "I'm not your enemy," he said. "I'm trying to keep you alive." He stepped into the light. Weathered face, tired eyes, a small scar near his temple. "Who are you?" I asked. "Call me Daniel." "How do you know my name?" "Because I've been watching you for weeks." My blood ran cold. "Why?" "Because the cartel already marked you. And they don't know you're working for me." My voice cracked. "Working for you?" Daniel looked past me, scanning the horizon. "Not yet. But you will. You don't have much of a choice." He reached into his jacket and tossed me a small USB drive. "When you find somewhere safe, open it. If you make it that far." Then he turned and disappeared into the dust. I stood there, holding the USB, heartbeat echoing louder than the wind. He knew my name, my car, my route, and my future. The motel room smelled like rust and rain. The fan above me spun lazily, pushing warm air in slow circles. I locked the door, set the laptop on the desk, and held the USB between my fingers. It was small, cold, like it didn't belong in this world. When I plugged it in, the screen flashed once, then opened to a folder full of names. Rico. Miguel. Lydia. El Camino. My hands trembled as I clicked the first file. A grainy video, night vision, Miguel standing in a parking lot, talking to someone I couldn't see. The audio was distorted, but one word cut through the static. Sarah. I froze. The next file was a report, an internal FBI document. Header, Operation Blue Sand, confidential. Subject SH, civilian courier, unknowingly involved in active cartel operations. Surveillance recommended. The name signed at the bottom, Agent D. Vega. Daniel. So he was FBI. Or at least, he used to be. The last file was a video call. Lydia, sitting in a motel room, speaking softly. Yes, she said. She still doesn't know. And Miguel thinks she trusts me. My stomach turned. Behind her, in the mirror, I saw the reflection of a man with a scorpion tattoo on his neck. Then, a knock at my door. Once. Twice. Slow. Measured. They found me, faster than I thought. The pounding on the door got louder. Wood cracked. Metal rattled. Open up. FBI. My breath caught. The voice didn't sound official, too rough, too angry. I grabbed the USB and stuffed it into my jacket pocket. The walls felt smaller with every hit. I ran through the bathroom, found a rusted key in a drawer, and kicked open the back door. The cold air outside hit me like ice. Gravel crunched beneath my boots. Stop. Sarah. I turned, a silhouette in the dark, gun raised. The first shot shattered the window above me. I ducked behind a car, heartbeat pounding in my throat. Another shot, closer. I crawled between two vehicles, reached an old truck, and yanked the handle. It opened. The keys were still in the ignition. The engine coughed, then came alive just as another bullet hit the door. I slammed the gas pedal. Tires screamed, dust exploded around me. In the rearview mirror, two figures shrank into the distance. One of them lifted a hand, the streetlight flickered just enough for me to see his face. Daniel. But why was he holding a gun? I couldn't tell anymore, who was hunting me, and who was trying to save me. Dawn crept over the desert like smoke. I drove until the gas gauge hit empty, then pushed the truck behind a ridge and killed the engine. Silence. Real silence. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely breathe. I took out the USB, the only proof of what I'd seen, and stared at it as if it might start talking. I didn't trust anyone anymore. Not Miguel. Not Lydia. Not Daniel. Maybe not even myself. The phone showed no service. Just a blank screen and my reflection. I climbed a small hill and looked out across the flat, endless sand. Far away, a dark shape moved, a car, small but steady, tracing the road I thought I'd left behind. I sat down, tried to calm my breath, but the quiet was worse than the noise. Then I saw it, a small red light blinking under the dashboard of the truck. A tracker. My blood froze. I reached under the steering column and found a black device, no bigger than a lighter, still blinking. Someone knew exactly where I was. I yanked it free and dropped it in the sand. The light kept flashing, like a heartbeat buried alive. I wasn't hiding from them, they were guiding me. The GPS tracker blinked like a heartbeat in the sand. I followed the signal across a dirt road until the map on the dashboard turned blank. Ahead, an old Texaco station appeared out of the heat, broken windows, torn sign, a shell left to rot. I parked behind the building and stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and oil. Tools scattered across the floor, a calendar frozen in 1998. In the corner, a desk, a laptop still glowing. That was impossible. I approached slowly. On the screen, one sentence blinked, "Follow the file, don't trust Vega." Vega. Daniel's real name. My pulse spiked. I hit enter. A map appeared, names, lines, connections. In the center, Miguel Rivera. From him, red lines spread outward, to FBI codes, to numbered accounts, and finally to one name that stopped my breath. A. Donovan. Agent Donovan. The same man who questioned me. Daniel hadn't lied. He just hadn't told the whole truth. I clicked one more time. The screen went black. Then a new message flashed, "Run. They're here." Outside, engines roared. Two black SUVs kicked up a storm of dust, closing fast. Whoever sent the message, they weren't lying. The SUV stopped hard, tires screaming. Doors opened, 4 men, all black jackets, all armed. I ducked behind a workbench as footsteps echoed through the garage. Flashlights swept across the floor, cutting through the dust. One of them called out, "Vega. We know you're here." My blood froze. Daniel. They were after him, not me. I crawled toward the back, breathing through my sleeve to stay quiet. "Check the office," another voice shouted. I moved faster, heart pounding in my ears. The metal door at the rear was half open, light bleeding through the gap. A flashlight beam passed over my shoulder. Click. The sound of a gun being cocked. Then, an engine outside. Louder. Closer. Another vehicle skidded to a stop, headlights cutting across the wall. The gunman turned toward the sound. I ran. Crawled through the opening, fell hard onto the dirt, lungs burning. A truck roared into view, the same Chevy I'd left in the desert. The door flew open. Daniel sat behind the wheel, shouting, "Get in." I didn't think. I just ran. Bullets hit the ground behind me, glass exploded. I jumped in, slammed the door, and we tore out of there, engines howling, dust rising behind us like smoke. I looked at Daniel, his arm bleeding, jaw clenched. "You followed me," I said. "I saved you," he growled. "For now." I didn't know if I was being rescued, or kidnapped again. The desert blurred past the window. Daniel's hands gripped the wheel tight, knuckles white. He hadn't spoken in 10 minutes. The silence between us was louder than gunfire. Finally, I broke it. "Who were they?" "Cartel," he said flatly. "Rivera's cleanup team." "You think I'm working for them?" "I think you were useful to them. Until you weren't." I turned toward him. "And you? Who are you really?" He hesitated, then said it, like a confession. "FBI. At least, I used to be." I stared at him. "Used to be?" "Operation Blue Sand. We were supposed to infiltrate Rivera's network. Somewhere along the way, the mission got corrupted." "Corrupted how?" "Someone inside started selling information to the cartel." His eyes flicked to the rearview mirror, headlights appeared in the distance. "You're saying the FBI is working with Miguel?" "I'm saying they're not the heroes you think they are." My heart sank. The idea that the people chasing me were also the ones protecting me made everything spin. Why should I trust you, Daniel? He glanced at me. Because if I wanted you dead, you would be. Silence again. The headlights behind us grew closer. I whispered, "Who are they?" "Not Cartel," he said. Worse. That's when I realized. Daniel wasn't saving me. He was running too. We drove until the sun began to fade again. Daniel pulled off the road, stopping near an abandoned warehouse miles from anywhere. Inside, it looked like a war room, maps, photos, red strings connecting faces. Names I recognized. Others I didn't. He unlocked a metal cabinet and dropped a thick folder on the table. The cover read, "Blue Sand, Confidential." "It started 3 years ago," he said. "The FBI wanted to plant agents inside Rivera's network. Lydia, Miguel, even you, all part of the plan." "Me?" I whispered. "I never signed up for this." "That's why you were perfect. No record, no connection, no suspicion." I flipped through the folder. Photos of Miguel, Lydia, and Donovan, standing beside them. "He's one of them?" Daniel nodded slowly. "He's the leak. Donovan was the one feeding intel to Rivera's men." The room felt colder. Daniel opened another file, Subject L, Handler. Lydia's face stared back at me. Pages of payments, recordings, secret transfers. "She was the bridge," he said. "Keeping both sides connected." My voice trembled. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you're the only one left who can expose it." I stared at him. "Then why do I feel like you're lying too?" Before he could answer, the lights flickered. The hum of engines outside. Daniel froze. "They found us, again." The first hit rattled the door. Metal screamed. Daniel killed the lights and pulled me behind a wall. We could hear footsteps outside, slow, steady, deliberate. "Vega." Miguel's voice cut through the dark. Calm. Confident. "You don't have to die for her, Daniel," he said. "Just hand her over." Daniel looked at me, eyes cold, sharp. "Hide. Don't come out until you hear silence." The door burst open. Light spilled in, silhouettes against the dust. Miguel. And beside him, Lydia. Her gun was drawn. Her hands were shaking. "Do you know what you've done, Vega?" Lydia asked. "Only what was right," Daniel said. "Too many lies. Too many bodies." Miguel smiled. "Lies are just the truth with better timing." Daniel aimed his weapon. Nobody moved. Lydia's voice cracked. "You could have walked away, Daniel." "So could you," he said. One heartbeat. One breath. Then, a gunshot. The flash lit up the room like lightning. I ducked behind the crates as echoes rang through the metal walls. Daniel dropped to one knee, clutching his arm, blood dripping between his fingers. Miguel raised his gun again. "Do it," he said to Lydia. "End it." Her eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," she whispered. And pointed the gun, not at Daniel. At me. That's when I realized, she wasn't here to kill Daniel. She was here to kill me. The next shot blew the air from my lungs. I fell behind the crates, ears ringing, dust raining from the ceiling. Daniel fired back, 2 quick shots. Screams. The sound of metal shattering. I crawled toward the back exit, clutching the USB still in my pocket. I couldn't let them have it, not now. "Sarah!" Daniel shouted. "Run!" I pushed through the side door into the open desert night. The sound of engines again, one SUV, maybe two. Headlights slicing through the dust. I ran, stumbled, kept running. Behind me, more shots, then silence. I turned back, the warehouse was on fire. Flames climbing fast, black smoke rising like a signal. I wanted to go back. But I couldn't. In the distance, I saw one figure stumble out, Daniel, limping, coughing. Our eyes met for a second. Then another SUV came between us. When the smoke cleared, he was gone. I fell to my knees. The USB still burned hot in my hand. The only evidence that any of this was real. By dawn, I reached the edge of the highway. Cars passed, none stopped. I looked like a ghost covered in dust and blood. At a small diner, I used the payphone. There was only one number left to call. FBI, Agent Donovan speaking. My heart stopped. I hung up immediately, but it was too late. He knew. I left the phone dangling and walked to the restroom. Cold water. Mirror. Eyes red, empty. I opened my jacket and looked at the USB again. One last chance to expose everything, or die with it. When I came back out, the diner was empty. No cook. No waitress. No sound. Then a voice behind me. Long night? Donovan. He sat at the counter, calm as ever, a coffee in his hand. Sit down, Sarah, he said. I didn't move. You've been through a lot. Daniel's dead. Miguel's gone. It's over. It's not over, I said. You were the leak. He smiled, slow and cruel. Someone had to keep the game alive. Then he stood, placed a file on the counter, and walked toward the door. Keep the USB, he said. It won't change anything. He left. And for the first time I realized he wasn't afraid of me. He was done with me. I took a bus to nowhere. Miles of desert rolled past, each one quieter than the last. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Daniel's face. Lydia's tears. Miguel's smirk. And Donovan's calm smile as he walked away. The USB was still in my pocket. But what good was the truth when no one would believe it? At a small motel outside Albuquerque, I plugged it in one last time. A single file appeared, blue_send_final. I opened it. Inside, photos, recordings, financial trails. Enough to bury them all. But at the very bottom, one more video. Daniel. He was sitting in a car, speaking directly to the camera. If you're watching this, it means I failed. The Bureau's compromised. Miguel's network goes deeper than we thought. Donovan's not alone. He paused, voice breaking. Sarah, run. Don't try to be a hero. Just live. The screen went black. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at my reflection on the dark monitor. I didn't run. It's been 6 months. I live under a different name now, somewhere far from the desert. Sometimes, when the wind hits the window just right, I swear I can still hear the echo of that first night, the hum of the motel sign, the buzz of the radio, the whisper on the phone. I sent the files anonymously to every major news outlet I could find. Within a week, Blue Sand was all over the headlines. Donovan disappeared. Lydia was found in Mexico, dead, ruled as an accident. Miguel Rivera, no trace. Daniel's name never appeared in any report. But I know he's out there somewhere. Watching. Waiting. People think the story ended. They call it a conspiracy, a ghost investigation, a rumor that burned out in the desert. But I know the truth. Because some nights, I still wake up to that same sound, the phone ringing in the dark, and a voice whispering, "This isn't over." Inspired by true events.